Who's introing?
Go on, mate, it's your video.
My intro, there we go. Right, so today, why are we here on this beautiful British B road? Well, first of all, we're here to talk to you about these two monster hatchbacks. It's time to mask up.
It looks like a rip off a tube knocker. That's what it looks like.
Mask. My lass loves it in bed. I'll follow you as I've got no idea where we're going.
Sweet.
Can you get in, fat lad?
It's not to mark the seats, mate. You need to remember these things. Go on, mate, it's your video.
My intro, there we go. Right, so today, why are we here on this beautiful British B road? Well, first of all, we're here to talk to you about these two monster hatchbacks. Now, for me, these are probably two of the best handling, best performing, best balanced hatchbacks you can get right now, and they're mega value for money.
Yeah, 100%.
Ridiculous value for money.
100%.
The question is really whether or not you should spend your hard-earned bucks on this 197 Clio Cup, or whether or not you should go for the ass-kicking Meg over there. So, talk to you, talk to me, talk to us, talk to me about that Meg and why you think it's an awesome machine.
Right, so the RS250 Meg, I've had a massive amount of experience with Renault hot hatches in general. To be fair, I just absolutely love them. I've grown up around them, it's what I've always been into, and I've gone through different phases of the phase 1172, the phase 2, the 182, had a couple of Clio Williamses. And just always, although the Renault hatches are always fantastic and they're great and they give you that fun factor and that bit of fizz that you need, I always felt like you need that little bit more. Now for me, the RS250 is all of that. That is the next step basically. Don't get me wrong, the 197, as far as it goes, bang for buck, amazing, fantastic car for money. But the track days that I've done in these, I always found, although it would hang with everything in the corners and it would break more stuff, was that little bit of pace that I was lacking. Since I bought the 250, there's no going back. That is it. This is the pinnacle of Renault hot hatches. These cars set the Nürburgring record every single year when they're released, and I can see why now owning one. They're fantastic, and they are a good car.
And it's phenomenally good looking. You know,
yes.
Literally.
Unlike its owner.
Come on, man. It's like he's going to Barbados.
I'm a nice guy, though.
Oh, he's got the weather for Barbados today.
Yeah.
But joking aside, I mean, seriously, when you look at a photo, and this is what you don't get really, if you've not really got up close to one of those Megs in person, you look at a photo and you think, Jesus Christ, you know, it's okay, but it's not like stunning. It doesn't give you that kind of giant morning wood that you really want. But actually, when you get next to it and you really start to look at it and you wander around the car, from literally every angle, it's pretty.
You need to be closer to appreciate just how good of a shape they've made.
Probably like Kim Kardashian. It's the same sort of thing. You've got to be up on it and really, you know, whether you're behind it, you know, side quarter view, from the front, the wings look fantastic, that front end looks good, everything looks awesome on it. Now, in terms of this, I think Usher's probably completely on the money. You know, I'm not as much of a Renault lunatic as some of these guys are, but having been in the 172s, 182s, taking me right back to when I was a kid. I'm obviously a lot older than him, even though I don't really look it. So taking him back to my youth when I was ragging around in Renault 5 GT turbos. In a way, this kind of, even though it's a naturally aspirated, this gives me the same kind of daft feel. You know, it's really lightweight. It's like a little pocket rocket.
I'm with you. I think from yesteryear, from a long time ago, I think Renault have done a very, very good job of encapsulating that feeling that the Renault hot hatch always gave you. Although you feed them a lot more modern qualities than this, it still has that exciting old school hot hatch feel to it, and I think personally, and there's a lot of cars available out there, I don't think that anybody, and I will say this quite comfortably, makes a better hatch than the French.
No,
I've said it,
and I completely and utterly agree. There's something about the way in which they get the whole package completely there, and more importantly than the package is the kind of level of excitement that you feel when you drive the car. It makes you want to drive it hard.
Yeah.
Makes you want to drive it
it's
fast.
just you in the car, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's just you in the car.
In terms of this, I mean, Usher's right again. Where this really lacks out, or where it's a problem is, certainly on British roads. If you're on the track, you can get away with it a little bit more, I think. But on British roads, you just find you're lacking a little bit of low downforce.
Yeah. You feel a little bit flat, only
do.
in comparison to a 172, 182. I feel the 172, 182, for me personally, I think they feel a little bit more exciting and slightly more raw. They do feel more quicker because obviously in this, they put the 6-speed box in and change the gearing set, and the gearing's totally different. So you get the handle, but to be fair, the chassis in this is better than the 172. The chassis in these are awesome, hence why people go for a mix in between the two, and they build what's called the Clio with the Megane 225 engine turbo conversion, which personally I've had a few of, and I didn't like them. I just couldn't get away with them.
It's very difficult because when you've got something that's naturally aspirated, it feels really well balanced out of the boxes. As you say, the braking points on this are nuts. You can go into a corner and you can start braking actually after you've gone around the corner.
The Brembos are phenomenal.
Yeah, it's absolutely
phenomenal.
Amazing. But it's just a talk. It really is just a talk. And I love everything else about this, you know. And I think, you know, in terms of value for money, bang for buck, I'm not sure what else you would get.
You can't get the only thing that compares now, if you can find one that doesn't look like the Titanic with massive holes in the floor, is an EB3 Type R. Phenomenal car, K20 engine, but I am absolutely horrified of buying a K2000 than an EB3 because they're all rotten, aren't they? The rod boxes, whereas these have got a great chassis. The older 172s, they can be a little bit rottish on the bottom, but those Japanese K20s just scare me. They do scare me.
I mean, joking aside, I mean, I've got this one up for sale right now for £3,800. There's not a single issue with it. The synchros are great on the boxes. The ball joints are great. The car's absolutely immaculate for £3,800.
No, you could.
It's difficult, you know. And I've had a few people looking at this week that have been considering all sorts of random things against it. Like one of the lads was considering a Mark V Golf GTI.
Can't compare it.
Totally
Can't compare it. Bland.
Said to him, you know, completely different thing.
Yeah, completely different.
So what we're going to do is we're going to have a little drive around, and we've driven over here actually, you know, obviously at a very sedate 30 miles an hour.
Yes.
Sedate 30 miles an hour. And at 30 miles an hour, you were still pulling away from me.
Yeah, it's a different kind of gravy. The power, I mean, don't get us wrong, obviously, I'll not bore you too much respect, but no. I've built this 250 to suit me, so that's obviously tuned, running 310 horsepower. We've got fancy top mounts and fancy suspension setup, sticky tyres, good exhaust, Wagner front mount intercooler. The spec goes on. I built it to suit me, so it's a modified car, but in terms of power-wise, they're just worlds apart.
Yeah,
they are.
And I've spec'd this car up just for today with a far superior driver. Right, that's us out of here. Sounds nuts on full chat.
Yeah, it's loud, isn't it?
Yeah, the only problem on this road is you're going that quick. It's struggling to film you. I literally, like, with the camera, I was like, where the hell's he gone?
Well, you'll have a laugh when you watch that camera, mate, because I turned round at the bottom up there.
Yeah.
A guy come round. Bearing in mind the corner's like 100 metres away from where I turned round. The guy in the big L200. I pulled in, obviously up there, again, right off the main road, turned round, waiting for him to pass first, so he decides to stop and pull up. And then he says, I nearly went in the back of you there. I went, how can you go in the back of us, mate? You can see you're 100 metres away. You're turning around. How could you possibly hit us? I said, you could see I was making a turn in the road. And then I started to get a bit heated, and he went, all right, mate, all right, don't worry about it. Turn around? Did you? So you couldn't see us when you come around that corner, turn around, nah? Well, I'm fucking reversing into the main road there. What? There's no need to pull up and give a shit, mate. I was turning around, right? Well, I hope Dan doesn't put that on video. Some people are... I'll not swear because it's not cool.
I can see by the time he's finished with that car, it's going to have more bits added to it than Jordan. But it's an absolutely awesome thing. It's a monster. And you can just see the way it hunkers down on the road when he's really giving it some licks. I've got to say, I'm a little bit envious of that Meg. I can see one arriving pretty soon. Everything about that Meg is, well, awesome. You can see when it's on the road just how it literally seems to be clawing into the road, and you can hear and see just how quickly it pulls away. And the handling's just sublime. He's got some adjustable top mounts on that. He's got about 2.5 neg dialed into it, and it just tucks in. I'm so envious. Gonna have to buy one of these.
Right, so we're back at SV headquarters where I work from. Just thought we'd put the two cars inside and give you a brief rundown of what the cars are running. One's pretty stock and in great form. The other one's not heavily modified, but I'd say modified to suit fast road, like 70% road, 30% track, which is the 250.
It will end up with more added bits than Jordan though.
Yeah. I kind of do get out the hand of things. I like to kind of save and see how work goes and make sure I buy not the best, but Gucci bits basically to make sure it's got the right bits on and they're going to work. Otherwise, I think, you know yourself, you buy cheap, you buy twice, don't you?
You do. You might as well do it
especially
right
with
from the
these. Yeah, these cars, like mine's used on track a lot. Goes to the Nürburgring, and obviously the last thing I want is a breakdown or a part failure in Germany. So we try to fit the best bits possible. The 250, in terms of spec, we've got a Wagner front mount cooler. We've got a Miltech 3-inch downpipe. On these, what's known as a mid-box chop, where you take the silencer out the middle, which obviously will naturally pop and bang. We don't like the pop and bang maps because it loads fuel and it can cause bore wash and stuff. So it's nice and safe and it does sound well. We're running Gram springs. This is a genuine factory cup, so we've got the nice diff in there, which is track orientated, which, to be fair, the diff's probably the best I've felt in a factory car. The diff in these are phenomenal. We're running some Project Silver EU fully adjustable top mounts, which are maxed out at the front, which is negative 2.5 degrees of camber, which obviously makes the turn in, it's very, very sharp. In terms of other bits of add-ons, we've got just a open-ended cone filter in there, which is heat shielded. We mapped at RS tuning. The car made 310 horsepower and 340 torque, I think it made. I'm almost certain. We've got yellow dot Recaros in there, which is an option extra from factory, but something I wanted. We've got Royal steering wheels, retrimmed steering wheel. In terms of splitters and add-ons and stuff, I just want to kind of make the car my own and try and change it and make it look a little bit different. So we've got a Maxton gloss black track spec front splitter. We've wrapped the roof gloss black, which normally I wouldn't do. That's how the car came, but I think it makes the car kind of squat and brings the height of the car down with the black wrap. We've got a Maxton rear wing extension and a Maxton rear diffuser as well. I'm trying to think if I've actually missed any bits off there. But yeah, so factory cup car, basically the same as what this car is. These are built in orientation of basically a road-going race car / track car. This has got a lot of aids in it. It has the sat nav, which I hate. It's got cruise control. So in terms of a daily car, you can still use it normally. You've got a sport button as well. So the map's loaded at the sport button. As soon as you hit the sport button, it'll deliver full power. If you just want to drive the car naturally in its normal habitat, it will use as a daily car every single day. Obviously moving on to Dan's little
This is pretty much as it came out of the factory, which is again a 197 Cup edition from the factory, so it gets a couple of the extras. Gets the Cup wheels. This has got the addition of a Renault Sport roof spoiler on it, and pretty much just an aftermarket stainless exhaust, and that really is about all that's done to this. Although it's been ordered from factory, fortunately with air conditioning.
Yeah.
So joking aside, at the minute that is really
Yeah.
Thank God.
But the thing is with these as well, Don, is obviously they built like that for a reason. I mean, the Cup shockers alone are different to standard shockers on these cars. So the fast road built, this is what before. They were basically a factory track car. So you've got thinner glass in the Cup. You've even got a thinner carpet set. Just little tricks to get the weight down in the car.
The front shockers on these are, I think, 27%. Sorry, the front springs are 27% stiffer than a standard 197. The rear springs are about 10% stiffer, and I think that the shocks themselves are actually 10% stiffer as well.
Yes.
So it's not a massive change, but the changes that they make really do make a massive difference to the car.
Yeah.
The car weighs 1,240 kilos. Well, it doesn't until I get in. And then it weighs 1,870 kilos. But joking aside, it's lightweight until I get in.
Yeah.
And it feels it. You can feel the improvement over a standard car, really. And the only thing that I'm not massively enamoured with is the way the steering feels. I don't get quite as much feedback as I'd really like, but that's me just being an absolute niggly sod. I really am.
That is going back again to points that we made earlier on. That's going back to the 172. I find the 172s lead a lot more steering input. It feels a lot more lively. But you know, hand on heart, I think with these, I think the way the steering feels is simply because the rest of the car is that good. The rest of the car's doing the work for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there's little steering input as well. Cup pack cars as well. The Meganes, the price difference in the Cups is mega. Like, if you're going to buy a 250, make sure you buy a Cup car, because the diff in these is, like I said, it's the best I've felt. And with these, obviously with a Cup pack, you're looking for red Brembo calipers on there, just a little bit of help if you're looking to buy them. Red Brembo calipers. The Cup shockers should have like a little yellow sticker on as well to identify what you're actually buying. But if you're going to buy a fast road car, you really want a Cup car, and it'll retain its value, mate, which is an important thing as well.
It is.
It will retain its value.
I honestly think that at some stage these will be on the up. Certainly, I think the 200, which is the one that came after this, they seem to solve a lot of the slight niggly issues that were in this, I think, in the later car. I think this is a better looking car than the 200, and it's not massively different, but I really like the way this looks. In terms of, you know, kind of bang for buck value between them, value of yours?
Personally now, with mods all included, I've got about 10.5 grand in this, so it is a big jump, isn't it? It is. But in the same breath, if you hopped into this at 3,800, which is what Dan's selling the car for, and then you put lowering springs on, stainless exhaust, you map it. I've got semi-slick tyres on there. You basically add the mods. This will start and climb. You will end up with 5 or 6 grand in this.
Yeah.
And literally, if you're lucky, you can pick a Cup pack one of these up at the moment on the cheap side with around 100k. If you're looking hard enough, probably around the 7 grand mark. If you get a low mileage one, you're talking 10 plus. But yeah, they both share the same negatives. The belt intervals on both cars are very expensive, so if you're buying one, make sure it's had its belts done. I think on these we get them at trade at £450 to do the belts, and it's a little bit more on the Meg, so always make sure you're looking for a belt change. And as Dan said earlier on, synchros in the gearbox.
Synchros in the gearbox. There's pretty much not really ball joints. Ball joints can be a bit of a pain in the backside on these. Joking aside, I mean, this is a 63,000 mile car, mint condition, full service history. Everything's done on it.
That's low, mate. That's actually, I didn't think it had that miles on it.
Yeah,
miles that like.
Yeah, 63. Yeah. And bang for buck, crackers. I mean, because like you say, to put yourself into a high mileage one, a high mileage Meg, you can get a high mileage Meg for, like you say, for what, 7 grand if you look. 7 grand. So you're still saving yourself money, and give yourself a little bit of coin to spend on a few mods. Set it up how you want it. I will be honest, literally out of the box, with a decent driver, you could take this to certainly a lot of tighter circuits and really embarrass a lot of.
100%. And we've done it time and time again. We've took the 200s and the old Clios, and it's literally the straight line power to struggle with in terms of handling. Though you can not have any more fun than what these give you.
No,
it really
I think
won't.
it is. It's the only place that you really feel as though this lacks a little bit is when you come out onto a big dual carriageway and you've got a big stretch of tarmac ahead of you, and you want to really give it something. It just feels. Especially if you're with a couple of lads and they're in something a lot quicker, you'll see them start to peel away from you a little bit.
Croft, we do a lot of Croft circuit because obviously we're North East lads, so we local at the Croft, and it's exactly the same. You've got the pit straight, and you've got the back half of the track at Croft. Through the corners, if something will do well to get past you, as soon as you hit the straight though, that's when you will come unravelled if anywhere. So it's that straight line grunt. But again, it compares both cars. If you've got close to 7 to 10 grand, my verdict is 100%. go and buy a Meg. Once you buy one of them, there's no going back. But if you've got 3, 4, 5 grand, hot hatch wise, I'd be in a Clio.
I think we stand by the statement that if you're looking for a balanced, all-round driver's car, fantastic handling, decent build quality as well, actually. And you want something that you can still daily. These two, there's really for those budgets, there's not all.
No.
That is a comparison.
And I hate to sound like a sado, obviously, as a car person.
It is a sado.
I am a sado, yeah, but I hate comparing like fuel costs and stuff like that. But obviously, if you're looking at a car, it's something you probably will consider. These aren't great on fuel, are they? These are very, very thirsty on fuel.
No, what you call it? Over its longer trips recently, it's averaged about 28 miles to the gallon.
See, if I steady away in this one, bear in mind this is obviously boosted with 300 horsepower, I can get 35 miles to the gallon on the motorway, 60 to 70 miles an hour. Combined, I'm kind of 28 miles to gallon. Obviously, flat out, it's a lot less. You're down to 15 miles to gallon. But in terms of a daily car and cost, the Meg would actually save you money over the 197 in terms of fuel.
Yeah, I think that's an important thing. But again, it comes down to how you're going to use the car. I think quite a lot of people will probably buy these not as a daily, sometimes as a bit of a tractor.
I agree.
But at the same time, if you're going to crack a load of miles and you are going to daily it, factor in the cost of the fuel. Sound like right miserable old gits.
I know, but I know you're not ancient, but as you do get on, I mean, when I was younger, obviously never well, but you do consider things like fuel. I mean, you shouldn't do that when you're buying a hot hatch, but I think the modern man will always compare fuel costs. I think it's just something that needs to be considered, doesn't it?
It is, and I think as well, in the current climate, I think everybody's a little bit uncertain about what's going to happen to car values. I think everybody's uncertain about what's happening to the jobs.
We're just general people, we're not millionaires. You've got to consider things like that.
So overall cost, and actually cost of just looking after these, apart from the belts, is relatively sensible, really.
Yeah, it is. The servicing costs are relatively cheap. Your car parts have always got the seals on. The oils are very cheap, and the fluids. Looking after them, it isn't too bad. No. The ball joints, it is a specialist job. To be fair, unless you know what you're doing, nobody really wants to get involved in the ball joints. These are the same. These are like a swivel hub system, which are a nightmare. To do the ball joints on these, this might sound stupid. They're actually putting them in the freezer. They're putting them in the freezer before they're fitting them, mate, which is it's ludicrous, but that's what you have to do to fit them. Mental.
I tried doing that, but I've got no space in my freezer.
You might be surprised to hear that.
Anymore, it's full of Iceland, like McDonald's muffin things. You get 6 in a pack.
Sign of the times.
And I've got about 40 packs.
It's a sign of the times.
It is. But joking aside, I think that's pretty much it for us for now on these. Best value hot hatches on the market. Ban on.
Yeah.
And that's from 2 miserable gits. See you next time, guys.
Thanks, guys.